And we're live. Greetings, friends. Welcome. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you. Miko Herptile is here and says, hello, Superantonio and Sadie. Hello, mods. Hope everyone is doing okay. And I hope you are doing okay as well, Miko. I apologize for for canceling last night's live stream so abruptly. I had no energy. No energy at all. I came back from the dog walk and I was exhausted. I was like, couldn't do it. It's like I had no energy, and also I was starving like you can't imagine, ravenous. It was like a blood sugar crash or something. I don't know, but it would have been a very low energy, confused stream. So I decided to move it to Sunday because I didn't know what we were going to do for Sinister Sundays as well. So we are not sinistering this Sunday. We are moving this Sunday. We're going to be working. We're going to be discussing Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker. 3 viewers in the chat. Batzaro is here. Greetings, Batzaro. Batzaro says, howdy, everyone. Hope all is going well. I hope you're going well. I saw your comment, Batzaro, on the recent Grand Theft Auto short. And yeah, I'm much better at riding motorcycles than driving in Grand Theft Auto, or flying for that matter. Chrissy V's here. Chrissy V74. Greetings, Chrissy. Chrissy says hello. Miko says hello to Chrissy and David. Yes, I am horrible at flying, even worse at helicoptering in Grand Theft Auto. And I am thinking very seriously considering doing a Bad Honor full game commentary and playthrough in the style of the Grand Theft Auto commentary and playthrough. We'll continue with Grand Theft Auto just because I like the story. I get it now. I understand why it's so popular, and I do believe that series will gain viewership and subs as we progress with the story. That's all we get from Sadie, I believe. She's also very tired. I'm feeling better tonight, thank you. And I have a video out for channel members. It'll go live at midnight, I believe. And that was a lot of fun because I got it up so fast. I found I was scrolling through eBay, looking at action figures and watches, as one does. And I found a John Marston 1/6 scale action figure. What's that about? And so I immediately got screen grabs, wrote out a script, and made a video on it. It was like the old days. It's like I got the idea in the morning, thought about it during the dog walk, and worked on it for the rest of the morning, and got it up by by noon, pretty much. Like the old days. I used to, it was nice to be that fast, because I haven't done that in a while. So it's available for members right now, and it'll go live for everyone else at midnight. Batzaro says, ooh, neat. Batzaro, do you collect action figures, Batzaro, in addition to comics? Because I love action figures. Yeah, they're also making a Micah 1/6 scale. It's not as cool as the Marston one. And it's the same company made an Arthur one that came out, I think, 2 or 3 years ago. And there's a Sadie. There's 2 versions of Sadie. I have one version, and I made a video on it, and I already forgot to add it to the description of the latest video, so I gotta do that. Chrissy says David is having issues logging in. I'm sorry to hear that, Chrissy, but I'm glad you're here. And Batzaro says, yes, sir. Batzaro, what do you specialize in? Marvel or comics or something? And what scale are you doing? 1/6 scale or 1/12? What do you like? What do you have? Do you have an Instagram? I'm always I don't feel I have enough to have an action figure channel, but I watch a lot of action figure YouTube. Started collecting during COVID, and I haven't really, I've only bought 2 figures this year. One of them was Quiet from Metal Gear Solid, and she's technically 1/9. And I got something else, which I cannot recall what it is right now. But yeah, it's like I've really toned down on the action figures, but partly because I haven't really seen anything I want. At any rate, David, I miss you, friend. Please log in. Can't do this without you. Tonight we're going to discuss Heath Ledger and the Joker. I also have an interview with Christian Bale that I would like to share. Let's load up the slideshow. Oh, and then on Wednesday, I want to talk about Westworld, the movie from that the TV series was based on, from 1972, I believe. Chrissy says, David is currently in the hospital. He has been in the ER since last night. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry to hear that, Chrissy. He's currently waiting for a room. Yeah, that's hard. Hopefully he can share a room with Serena. And I apologize if that's a bad joke. I make bad jokes during tense times like that. We of course wish him all the best. That's really hard to hear. And yeah, I hope he gets better. He has to get better. I insist. Very sorry to hear that, Chrissy. And give him my love, of course. Let's talk about The Dark Knight. Well, let's talk about the Joker. Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker. Miko says, sorry to hear that. I hope he gets well soon. And Batzaro says, DC stuff mostly. Catwoman. Scale isn't a big factor, but I have a lot of 1/6. I don't really do any posting on stuff about it, though. I do want to get a 1/6 scale Catwoman by Hot Toys. But I also want the motorcycle, the Batpod, so I can pose her on the Batpod. And that just gets very complicated and very expensive. But, yeah. Catwoman. Batzaro says, send him my love and healing vibes, please, Chrissy. And Chrissy says, thank you. Of course, he can hear you on my phone. David, I love you, and can't do this without you, and get better soon, friend. Miss you. Okay, on to Wikipedia. The Joker is a character portrayed by Heath Ledger and the main antagonist in Christopher Nolan's 2008 superhero film, The Dark Knight. Based on the DC Comics supervillain of the same name, he's depicted as a psychopathic criminal mastermind with a warped, sadistic sense of humor who defines himself by his conflict with the vigilante Batman. In this movie, he sees himself as yin to Batman's yang. In the film, the Joker tests how far Batman will go to save Gotham City from descending into chaos by targeting the Caped Crusaders' allies, including Police Lieutenant James Gordon and District Attorney Harvey Dent. Chrissy says, thank you all, and has a heart emoticon. We have a big heart emoticon for you, David. You get well soon, friend. Ledger's portrayal of the Joker as an avatar of anarchy and chaos was specifically influenced by the graphic novels Batman the Killing Joke and Arkham Asylum, A Serious House on Serious Earth. I've read The Killing Joke, but I haven't read the second one. He wears the character's traditional purple and green color palette, while his disfigured clown-like appearance is the result of smeared makeup that covers facial scars of a Glasgow smile, rather than the bleached white skin from falling into a tank of chemical waste, like in the source material. And a Glasgow smile is a wound caused by making a cut from the corners of a victim's mouth up to the ears, leaving the scar in the shape of a smile. Paintings by Francis Bacon, the character of Alex in Anthony Burgess's novel A Clockwork Orange, and Stanley Kubrick's film adaptation of the same name, and various punk rock musicians served as additional inspiration for Ledger's performance. Although Ledger's casting as the Joker was initially controversial, it is now widely considered to be his finest performance. Ledger himself regarded it as his most enjoyable. When the film was released in July 2008, 6 months after Ledger died from an accidental prescription drug overdose, his performance as the Joker received widespread acclaim and earned numerous posthumous accolades, including the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. Ledger's Joker is often listed as one of the greatest and most iconic movie villains in film and popular culture, and has become one of the most notable media adaptations of the character. Concept and development. Casting. We have a quote from Heath Ledger. "I feel like this is an opportunity for to not take myself too seriously, and for some reason I just gravitated towards the Joker, and I knew I had something to give to him, and I just instantly had an idea of how to do it." In July of 2006, The Dark Knight was officially announced by Warner Brothers Pictures, and Heath Ledger was cast as the Joker. Christopher Nolan had met with Ledger over the years for different roles, including the part of Batman in Batman Begins. Ledger explained he was not interested in working on superhero films. "I would just feel stupid and silly. I couldn't pull it off, and there are other people who can perfectly, but I just couldn't take myself seriously." After seeing and being impressed with Batman Begins, however, Ledger sought the part of the Joker in its sequel. Nolan cast Ledger before there was even a script due to his determination, stating, "Heath was just ready to do it. He was ready to do something that big." Casting director John Popsidera stated that they needed somebody courageous to play the part. Got my green tea again. Mama One is here. Everyone say hi to Mama One and Papa One. Mama One, David is in the hospital. I'm sorry to say. So he needs our prayers as well as we talk about Heath Ledger and the Joker. Highlighting the opportunity for freshness, Ledger aimed for a new and different interpretation of the character, separate from previous film incarnations. And we have a quote from Christopher Nolan. "Everything about what he does, from every gesture, every little facial tic, everything he's doing with his voice, it all speaks to the heart of this character. It all speaks to this idea of a character who's devoted to a concept of pure anarchy and chaos. It's hard to get a handle on how those elements combine. The physicality reminds me of the great silent comedians. It has a bit of Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin about it." Ledger and Christopher Nolan both explained seeing eye to eye on the Joker's appearance in the film, sharing common reference points for who the character was going to be. Based on philosophical ideas of anarchy and chaos, they looked at art by Francis Bacon for visual reference, and they talked about Malcolm McDowell's performance as Alex in Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange, and who Alex is in Anthony Burgess's novel of the same name. Ledger was given Alan Moore's graphic novel Batman: The Killing Joke for preparation for the role, as well as Grant Morrison's graphic novel Arkham Asylum, A Serious House on Serious Earth, but he really tried to read and put it down. The vocal style Ledger used is rumored to be influenced by Tom Waits. In an interview with MTV, Ledger said he regarded the experience playing the Joker as the most fun he ever had, and probably will ever have. Steve Alexander, Ledger's agent, said the actor had a pay-or-play deal on The Dark Knight, so he felt free to do whatever he wanted to do as the Joker, no matter how crazy. According to the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus cinematographer Nicola Pecorini, Ledger had talked with him about Johnny Depp's off-kilter portrayal of Jack Sparrow in Pirates of the Caribbean in relation to the Dark Knight, aiming to make a performance that would be so far out he would be fired. As Ledger was cast early in pre-production, Nolan explained that the actor had months and months to prepare for the role. Another quote from Heath Ledger, actually scrawlings from Heath Ledger's Joker diary. Inside, he's laughing red and black till there's nothing left to laugh, until, almost tenderly, he turns inside out through his mouth. And Bazzaro says, I was in basic training when it was announced. That and Steve Irwin dying were all the current news we were ever told. Well, that's all that was important for you over at Camp Pendleton. During a span of 6 weeks, Heath Ledger secluded himself in a hotel room, compiling a character diary and experimenting with voices. It's a combination of reading all the comic books I could that were relevant to the script, and then just closing my eyes and meditating on it, he said about his process. The diary contains photos, news clippings, various handwritten thoughts and words, and portions of dialogue from the film. Christopher Hooton, writing for The Independent, said that the Joker Journal had several stills from Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange, Joker cards, photographs of hyenas, unhinged clown makeup, and the word chaos highlighted in green. Furthermore, it contained a list of things the Joker would find funny, such as AIDS, landmines, and geniuses suffering from brain damage. It was revealed that Ledger had read Grant Morrison's The Clown at Midnight, Batman 663, and based the list upon the Batman writer's prose. Ledger highlighted the importance of finding an iconic voice and laugh for the character, relating the voice to the key to the demented killer. Nolan explained Ledger's early and peculiar ambition for the voice of the character, saying that the actor had studied the way the ventriloquist dummies talk. The filmmaker also acknowledged that the voice performance was based on the Alexander technique, named after Frederick Matthias Alexander from 1955. It is a type of alternative therapy based on the idea that poor posture gives rise to a range of health problems. Interesting. Ledger developed the Joker's voice and mannerisms slowly over time and during camera tests. Don't act, just read it, Nolan had told Ledger for a test screening. In hair and makeup tests, Ledger would start exploring the movements of the character. While test recording without sound, he shared his take on the Joker's voice and physicality, and in that way, he sort of sneaked upon it. The actor developed the physical appearance of the character, being very involved with the painting of his face, says prosthetic supervisor Connor O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan acknowledged how Ledger, Nolan, and makeup artist John Caglione all gravitated towards a Francis Bacon painting Nolan was referring to. I wish I'd gotten that picture of that painting for the slideshow, but I didn't. Ledger also chose the Joker's weapon among different rubber knives, and he worked closely with costume designer Lindy Hemming on deciding the look of the character. Nolan noted, "We gave a Francis Bacon spin to his face, the corruption, this decay, and the texture of the look itself. It's grubby. You can almost imagine what he smells like." Costume designer Lindy Hemming picked inspiration for the chaotic look from such countercultural pop icons such as Iggy Pop, Johnny Rotten, and Sid Vicious. She gave the image for the Joker of someone who is very sweaty and probably doesn't have a proper home. She tried to present a backstory for the character that he really doesn't look after himself. Application of Ledger's makeup was done with the actor's scrounging special facial expressions. Caglione called the application work a dance. The technique created facial textures for white paint. As Ledger closed his eyes tight, Caglione put on the black makeup. Then water was sprayed over the eyes, and the actor would squeeze his eyes and shake his head to create imperfections in the makeup. To get in character for filming, Ledger kept his Joker diary with him on set and frequently referred to it. Between takes, Ledger would stay in costume and makeup just just being himself. The actor would fool around, skateboarding while in his Joker costume on set, and smoking cigarettes. John Caglione described Ledger as helping others around to relax, never letting the intense nature of the roles overwhelm him. The first sequence shot with the film's IMAX opening, the prologue, as the Joker wears a mask through the scene with minimal dialogue. Nolan set the prologue first in the schedule because he wanted to put off performance worries, allowing Ledger to enjoy that relief. The interrogation scene between Batman and the Joker was the first scene shot with Ledger really showing full performance altogether. The director and the leading actors all liked the idea of shooting the key scene early on. During rehearsals, the actors kept things loose and improvisational, saving for the actual shoot. Bale confirmed that Ledger did not perform the Joker's voice during rehearsals, waiting to get into character when the cameras rolled. That's interesting. It's always interesting, artistic and actor technique. Nolan later acknowledged that the scene to be his favorite in the film, saying, "I had never seen anybody sell a punch the way Heath was able to do that with Christian." Ledger was allowed to shoot and direct the threat videos the Joker sends out as warnings. Each take the Ledger made was different from the last. Nolan was impressed enough with the first video shoot that he chose not to be present when Ledger shot the video with a kidnapped reporter. Ledger always showed up early on set. He was a consummate professional, as far as I know, as far as I can tell. The first thing he would do, according to Caglione, was to give bear hugs to cast and crew members around the set. And no matter how banged up or bruised Heath was after a long day, after we'd taken off the last drop of makeup, he'd just hug everybody in the trailer before he left. At the end of shooting, on his Joker Diary's final page, Ledger wrote, "Bye-bye." Effect on Heath Ledger's death. On the 22nd of January 2008, after he had completed filming The Dark Knight, Ledger died, aged 28, of an accidental prescription drug overdose. And accidental drug ODs, in my mind, is just a different form of self-cancellation. You know, it's like because it was an accident, you accidentally OD'd. You know, I mean, it's just, I think it's partly PR and partly, you know, not wanting to admit what actually happened. But, you know, I think there are a lot of self-cancellations that come across as accidents. A lot of auto accidents, I'm sure. A driver suddenly loses control and drives off a bridge or a cliff or into a tree. You know. But anyways, I don't want to talk about anything that dark. Not when David's in the hospital. Leading to intense press attention and memorial tributes. It was tremendously emotional right when he passed, having to go back in and look at him every day during editing, Nolan recalled. But the truth is, I feel very lucky to have something productive to do, to have a performance that he was very, very proud of, and that he had entrusted to me to finish. All of Ledger's scenes appear as he completed them in the filming, in the editing of the film. Nolan added no digital effects to alter Ledger's actual performance posthumously. Nolan has dedicated the film in part to Ledger's memory. Ledger's death affected the marketing campaign for The Dark Knight and also both the production and marketing of Terry Gilliam's film The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. Both Nolan and Gilliam celebrated and paid tribute to Ledger's work in these films. During production of The Dark Knight, Jay White's Gamble was meant to survive his confrontation with Ledger's Joker, which would have resulted in the Joker giving Gamble a Glasgow smile of his own and enabling the filmmakers to reuse Gamble in the future. With Jay White commenting that Gamble was supposed to have a bigger role in further sequels, returning to Gotham City and trying to take it over. following Ledger's passing, despite the film script not calling for Gamble's death, Nolan cut out several of Gamble's planned scenes, and the editors had Gamble killed off by the Joker during their confrontation, something Jay White didn't find out about until the film's premiere. Writer David S. Goyer's original intent for Batman Begins sequels in 2005 involved the Joker being apprehended by Batman with the aid of Commissioner Gordon and Harvey Dent in the second film, and the Joker scarring Dent during his trial in the third film. However, most aspects of Goyer's film treatments were absorbed into The Dark Knight. Ramon Sanchez has entered the chat and says, "Hi, Antonio." Greetings, Ramon. Appreciate you, friend. Thanks for being here. Doing a discussion on Heath Ledger's performance of the Joker, and I apologize for missing Saturday's live stream so abruptly. I was just very I had no energy. It was kind of like a low blood sugar crash that I didn't really recover from. But I feel fine now. According to Ledger's sister, Kate, Ledger was planning to reprise the role of the Joker for another film, a notion supported by Aaron Eckhart, who recalled that Ledger had planned to return in a sequel. Nolan ultimately decided that the Joker would not return in The Dark Knight Rises and dispelled rumors that he would use unused footage from The Dark Knight to bring Ledger back. Characterization. Ledger described the Joker as a psychopathic, mass-murdering, schizophrenic clown with zero empathy. He embodies themes of chaos, anarchy, and obsession, expressing a desire to upset Gotham's social order through crime and his conflict with Batman. After their first fight, Batman struggles to understand what exactly the Joker's motivations are. Alfred, however, suggests that he may not have motivations typical of criminals. He may not have any real motivation at all, claiming that some men just want to watch the world burn. I wish I could do that in his accent. The Joker's hair is stringy, unkempt, and dyed green. His face is covered by a cracked, smeared, and runny layer of white clown makeup, while his sunken eyes are thickly rimmed in black and his teeth are yellowed. A red grin is sloppily painted across his mouth and cheeks, covering the facial scars of a Glasgow smile. Wearing the character's traditional color palette from the comics, the Joker is dressed in a light purple shirt with a thin, medium-toned purple tie and a green waistcoat, topped by a dark purple overcoat. He wears purple pants and leather gloves, the former marked with pinstripes. The film reveals that his clothing is custom-made with no labels. The patterns and designs chosen were popular during Victorian and Edwardian periods. However, they have been given an eccentric twist with the purple and green color palette. Don't quote me on this, but I believe the costume was inspired by Vivienne Westwood. It has a very Vivienne Westwood punk rock, elegant punk rock, Kings Road kind of vibe to me. He carries no identification of any kind and offers no clear details about what his true name or background. When he is arrested by the Gotham City police, they find only knives and lint in his pockets. He speaks with a hint of an Australian accent, which was Ledger's natural intonation, that further obscure his origins, suggesting that he may not even be a United States citizen. Odog is here. Greetings, Odog. Odog says, have to let y'all have this one. I'm too tired from travels and juggling some melons today. Smiley emoticon, be well. Odog, David is in the hospital again. So he needs your prayers. But I'm glad you're here, friend. Appreciate you. And you take it easy. All of you take it easy. What's going on with my mods? Super inconvenient for me. Everybody get better. The character's mannerisms carry a quality of unpredictability. His voice frequently shifts in pitch so that he speaks his dialogue hitting higher notes, followed by an immediate lower voice capable of landing 2 octaves below. Nolan acknowledges this unpredictability to be part of the character's slinky physical movements as well, saying that Ledger's performance is always a surprise. About the Joker's physical appearance, Jeff Boucher wrote for the Los Angeles Times that the character probes the facial scars with his tongue and walks with shoulders bowed and his chin out and down like a hyena. And we got some characterizations. The critical reception. Heath Ledger's portrayal of the Joker received universal acclaim, winning numerous posthumous awards for his performance, including the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor, a Golden Globe, the BAFTA, the Saturn Award, Screen Actors Guild Award for its outstanding performance, and the Australian Film Institute Award for Best Actor. And we have a quote from Richard Corliss from Time magazine. Heath Ledger is magnificent. The Joker, incarnated with chilling authority by the actor, is simply one of the most twisted and mesmerizing creeps in movie history. I can only speak of superlatives of Ledger, who is mad, crazy, brilliant as the Joker, wrote Peter Travers of Rolling Stone, stating that the film is deeper than its predecessor, with a deft script that refuses to scrutinize the Joker with popular psychology. Travers praised the cast, saying that each brings his or her A-game to the film. Travers said Ledger moves the Joker away from Jack Nicholson's interpretation into darker territory, and expressed his support for any potential campaign to have Ledger nominated for an Academy Award. And I believe so far, don't quote me on this, it's the only comic book movie that has won an Oscar for Best Actor, but I could be wrong. Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times stated that Heath Ledger's performance is a key performance and pondered whether he would become the first posthumous Academy Award actor since Peter Finch in 1976. Mark Dinning from Empire magazine called Ledger's performance monumental and wrote, "The Dark Knight is Ledger's movie. It is a towering performance, a force of nature." Kevin Smith commented on Ledger, calling his incredible performance one of the most frightening, smart, and well-played villains ever. Mark Lee, writing for the Daily Telegraph, commented that Ledger accomplished a genuinely unsettling, brilliantly nuanced portrait of evil. And Tim Tiemann, commenting for the Times, said that Ledger is so terrifying and unpredictable that his very presence on screen makes you nervous. And David V has entered the chat. David, how are you, friend? Appreciate you. You take care of yourself. You get better. I insist. Shout out to channel member and mod David V63. Couldn't do it without you, friend. Nick Honeycutt called Ledger's performance a beauty. In Entertainment Weekly, put his film on its end of the decade best of list, saying every great hero needs a great villain. And in 2008, Christian Bale's Batman found his in Heath Ledger's demented dervish, the Joker. David Denby of The New Yorker, otherwise critical of the film, praised Ledger's sinister and frightening performance, which he says is the film's one element of success. Denby called Ledger mesmerizing and said his performance is a heroic, unsettled final act. This young actor looked into the abyss. That's true, I really believe he did. And I believe he is a member of the 28 Club. Yeah, he died at age 28. Didn't make it past 28 like Jim Morrison and Kurt Cobain. That's part of the legend. Scrolling through. Oh, interesting. Influence on other villains. Berenice Marlohe cited Ledger's performance as the Joker as an inspiration for her portrayal of Severine in the James Bond film Skyfall, specifically in regard to Severine's psychological instability. Ewan Rayon admitted to having used Ledger's Joker as a reference for his performance as Ramsay Bolton in Game of Thrones in regards to Jesse Eisenberg's performance as Lex Luthor in Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. Ben Affleck compared Eisenberg's Luthor to Ledger's Joker, feeling that Luthor was the best character in the film due to being grounded in reality, and that Eisenberg improvised all his scenes to the point of creating a whole psychology for Luthor. On playing Njadaka, Eric Killmonger Stevens, Michael B. Jordan in Black Panther, Michael B. Jordan expressed his admiration for both Ledger's Joker performance, feeling that Ledger's portrayal, as well as Michael Fassbender's Magneto, motivated him to deliver an awesome performance as a comic book movie villain. Oh, interesting. To play the tracker in John Wick 4, Shamir Anderson looked and studied Ledger's Joker due to both characters similarly lacking a backstory, wondering himself on how his character ended up the person he is in the film, and even having his character's notebook taken home to write on it and engraving his name in several of the character's items. Interesting how his performance is influencing a new generation of actors. Cloudy's here. Greetings, Cloudy. David says, yes, 27 Club. And I have an interview from the Hollywood Reporter from 2017 with Christian Bale that I wanted to read for you. The title is Heath Ledger asked Christian Bale to hit him for real in The Dark Knight. Almost a decade later, 2017, Heath Ledger's role in The Dark Knight remains the most acclaimed superhero movie performance of all time. I would agree with that. The actor, who won an Oscar for playing the Joker, went to great lengths for the role and is recounted in newly unearthed interviews with Ledger, director Christopher Nolan, and Batman actor Christian Bale, who reveals that during the film's iconic interrogation scene, Ledger encouraged him to make the physical altercation between the two authentic. What's that about? Below are excerpts from those interviews, which have been published in the new book, 100 Things Batman Fans Should Know and Do Before They Die. Author Joseph McCabe conducted the interviews with Bale and Nolan in 2008, around the time of the film's release, and spoke with Ledger in November of 2007, when the actor was promoting I'm Not There. What was it like working with Heath Ledger as the Joker? Christian Bale. Bazzaro says, I've got to commend your research and sources, Super Antonio. You've said a couple things I didn't know, and I've read about Heath's Joker a lot. One of my favorite movie characters ever, comic movie or not. Thank you, Bazzaro. I appreciate you being here. I want to hear more about your action figures. And Chrissy says, Brian Jones, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison, Jean-Michel Basquiat, forgot about him, Kurt Cobain, and Amy Winehouse. Yeah, Amy hit me hard. Amy was my Kurt Cobain. I loved her. I really did. And, everybody saw it coming. Yeah. Christian answers, our first scene was in an interrogation room together. I saw that he's a hell of an actor who's completely committed to it and totally gets the tone that Christopher Nolan is trying to create with this. We're not going for actors revealing their enjoyment of playing a wacky character. We're treating this as serious drama. You go into character and you stay in character. I love that. I find that so ridiculous that I love it, and I take it very seriously. Heath was definitely embracing that. When he was in the makeup and the garb, he was in character the whole time. When he took it off, he was absolutely fantastic company to be around. As you see in the movie, Batman starts beating the Joker and realizes that this is not your ordinary foe, because the more I beat him, the more he enjoys it, the more I'm giving him satisfaction. Heath was behaving in a very similar fashion. He was kind of egging me on. I was saying, you know what? I really don't need to actually hit you. It's going to look just as good if I don't. And he's going, go on, go on, go on. He was slamming himself around, and there were tiled walls inside of that set that were cracked and dented from him hurling himself into them. His commitment was total. Were you ever afraid of being upstaged? Bale says, not at all, because it was exactly the point that I had a problem with in all of the other Batman movies, especially after reading Frank Miller's Batman Year One. I've read that. And various other graphic novels. I asked myself, well, how come it's always been that he's the most boring character? I'd never found him to be intriguing at all, whereas these graphic novels depicted him as by far the most fascinating of them. I feel we gained that back with Batman Begins, that he's a character with substance. So I have no problem with him competing with somebody else, because I can only make for a better movie. If you have these other fascinating characters arriving on the scene too. Christopher Nolan, Johnny Rotten, Sid Vicious, those kind of punk influences were some of the things we talked about. We also talked about the character of Alex in A Clockwork Orange. He's very anarchic, and yet somehow has great charisma, both in the book and the film. We talked about a lot of different influences, and he talked about an extraordinarily diverse set of influences, like ventriloquist dummies, the way they would talk and the way they would move, and all kinds of peculiar ideas that I wasn't really able to get a handle on until I saw him start to perform the scenes and start to show how the character moved and how the character gestured and how the character spoke with this extraordinarily unpredictable voice. The range of the voice, from its highest pitch to its lowest pitch, is very extreme, and where it shifts is unpredictable and sudden. The thing with the tongue was, he had this prosthetic that was covering his lower lip, and it would come unglued sometimes. I'd seen him sort of sticking it back with his tongue, and it was only after a few weeks of shooting that I realized that that wasn't what he was doing, that he had started to adopt that actually as part of the character. It was an interesting balance. I loved that. I noticed that upon first viewing, the way he kept licking his lips was just so predatory and creepy. But I just attributed it to his performance, another quirk of his character. What I like about them all is they all feel that they come from the character. They don't feel like actorly touches. I read them as genuinely part of the fabric of a real human being. And a question for Heath Ledger. You've gone on record as saying you weren't a huge fan of comic books. What attracted you to The Dark Knight? Heath Ledger. Yeah, the only reason I wasn't is because I grew up in a household of girls. So there were very few Batman comics lying around. There was mainly Archie. So that's probably the only reason why I never grew up reading Batman. Chrissy says, I have to be going, logging out to now. Have a great night. Ta-ta for now. And love to David. Yes, love to you and David as well, Chris. We'll return on Friday. Well, also on Wednesday, we're going to do the Westworld movie. But on Friday, we're going to celebrate Serena and Doc's birthday. We're going to do a Friday Bat Honor free roam. But love to you all. You have a great week, as great as you can, and I'm wishing the best for both of you. Let me know if there's anything I can do. You have my email. But I really loved Batman Begins, and the character of the Joker was just too good to turn down. I've said this before, but if Tim Burton was doing The Dark Knight and asked me to play the Joker, I wouldn't have taken it. Because to try and even touch what Jack Nicholson did in Tim Burton's world would be a crime. So when Chris came to me, and I knew how Chris was, he had already set up this world for me. I'd seen what world it was that I would be playing in, so I knew it was open for a fresh interpretation. I also instantly kind of had something up my sleeve, which happened to be exactly what Chris was looking for. We sat down and kind of shared ideas, and they were the same, so we just went with it. Batzaro is taking out off as well. Great talking to you, Batzaro. And Batzaro says, dog needs out and I need a shower. Sadie had her shower last night. And she left a magnificent ring around the shower. What's that about? Very, very unladylike, I told her. Hop, hop, get up here. Say hi to Mama 1 and Papa 1. Hop, hop. Mama 1 says, love you, David. Hugs to you and Chrissy. Turn around. Thank you. Face the camera. There you go. There's Sadie. Papa 1 says, y'all gonna hate me for this. I like Joaquin Phoenix's performance better. But the way he portrays the character strikes me more. I was in all those VA mental therapy, and they wanted to make sure I was not a violent, insane canceller. I met several guys who were in Vietnam that reminded me of Arthur Fleck. Just the way he is genuinely a nice guy, just a little messed up. But he finally just gives up and embraces what everyone already feels they are. So they lash out. There's a sense of freedom in that. Joker 2019 brought me to tears. Yeah, it's a great performance. I don't cry at movies, never have, but it reminds me of some of those vets. And Mom 1 says, hey, Sadie. Mama 1, what's for dinner? And you have to think of what you're going to make for Serena's virtual birthday dinner. We're going to do Westworld the movie on Western Wednesdays. It's from 1972, I believe. It starred Yul Brynner and not Josh Brolin. Josh Brolin, the one who is Thanos' father. Papa 1 says, hey, Sadie, give her a treat from her honorary grandparents, LOL. Yes, we have potent canine bait. She loves that. You can hear her crunch. How's everyone tonight? That's heavy news from David and Chrissy. Makes me sad. You know, I was thinking as I was watching, I was listening to the Avengers theme on YouTube before the stream started. You know, it's such a magnificent piece of music. And there's a cappella versions of it. Like kids all over the world have made a cappella versions of the Avengers themes, you know, like in Korea, in America, everywhere. And but yeah, it's a wonderful piece of music. And it occurred to me that the Marvel Cinematic Universe phases 1 through 3, of course, not anything from the from the Disney era, but phases 1 through 3 is encompasses the pinnacle, the paramount, the height of American modern cinema, and also its downfall. You know, it's like 22 movies that coalesce into like a perfect story. You know, it made so much money, and Hollywood has just been chasing that formula ever since, and not able to recreate it. Papa 1, Chrissy said that he's in the ER, and he's waiting for a room, and I don't remember if she said why. I know why, but I don't know if I can share that. But it's serious. It's you know, it's like Serena. It's serious, and I just want him to get better. I want both of them to get better. Ramon says hi to Sigi. Say hi to Ramon. That's hard. Mama 1, did you tell us what was for dinner? I don't think you did. Scrolling through. How was everyone's weekend? I had a good weekend, except for last night. I just ran out of energy. I ran out of energy. I was like completely, after the dog walk, I just sat on the couch and I couldn't get up. And usually I like to do some jump ropes after the dog walk. And I was like, there's no way I'm doing any jump ropes. And I was like ravenously hungry, and it felt like a low blood sugar situation, which happens every now and then. But it would have been like there was no way I could have had a live stream. I just had no energy. Mama one says I made homemade chicken pot pie. I love that. Homemade crust, homemade broth made from chicken bones, fresh grown carrots, peas, corn, green beans, a biscuit, and some pecan pie for dessert. Oh, that sounds wonderful and lovely. And there's nothing about that I don't love. I love pecan pie. You should make some for Serena's birthday because I don't believe she's ever had any. I don't think they have pecans in Australia. Ramon says, I saw Alien Romulus yesterday. It was good. The horror elements are on fire. Okay, Ramon, tell us about it. Miko says, weekend was okay. Took the dogs for their booster rabies shots. That's why I wasn't in the last live stream. That's okay, Miko. We didn't have a last live stream. But, yeah, and I apologize for missing it so abruptly. Couldn't be helped. Didn't have it in me. Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about Alien Romulus. Mom once says use large carrots in the broth. I suppose that's a tip. I had pizza salad for lunch, and it was delicious. The first Alien is one of my favorite movies. The second Alien, which is a completely different movie, is a great sequel. A great sequel in the sense of like The Godfather 2 is a great sequel. And then James Cameron did it again with Terminator 2. He made like perfect sequels. Granted, Terminator 1 was his movie and his character, but Terminator 2 is a great sequel. And I love how Arnold decided, I need to be the good guy, and because he was so popular. And they figured out a way to make him a good Terminator. I believe I've seen all of the Alien movies, but I've been very disappointed with the modern ones. Mama once says, if you use cold chicken broth poured on a dog's wound, it will kill infections. Interesting. Our farm dogs got into a scrape, so I had to treat his wounds. Interesting. You can do the same with miso soup. Ramon says, Alien Romulus makes the xenomorph terrifying again. There are many great choices in the writing. Interesting. Let's look up Alien Romulus. Space colonizers come face to face with the most terrifying life form in the universe while scavenging the deep ends of a derelict space station. Yeah, I saw the trailer. Mama once says the chicken broth with large carrots is for cleaning farm dogs' teeth. Sadie might like it. Yeah, she does like carrots. But, she likes pretty much anything I give her. She's very trustworthy that way. And, I would never betray that trust. But even, it's such a heavy responsibility because I could betray that trust and she'd still care, and she'd still come back. That's the beauty and that's why all dogs go to heaven, because their hearts are so just full of love and acceptance. Mama one says boil for 5 to 15 minutes, gives them something to snack on and keeps teeth clean. Interesting. That's a great idea. Okay, yeah, let's do that. I'm going to make a note of it. Mama one. We're going to call it large carrots chicken broth. Yeah, I could make, I could give her a carrot a day. She would love that. Ramon says the characters make choices that make sense in context, but we see how they get overwhelmed simply because they don't know what they're up against. They don't have an android to explain things to them. Ash. What I love about the first movie is they're pretty much just space truckers. It's working class, and they've got a science officer who's, spoiler alert, android. But yeah, they also have no idea what they're dealing with, and they don't really have weapons. They've got like these industrial flamethrowers that kind of work. Mama one says we have 14 farm dogs. Haha, they are pets, but we have indoor dogs too. 14 dogs, you got a pack. So I have a new video that is coming out at midnight on a 1/6 scale John Marston action figure that I saw on eBay. Saw it this morning. Thought about making a video during the dog walk, and made the video the same day. Crafted the thumbnail, uploaded. Yeah, I was really proud that I could still work that quickly. I used to work that quickly back in the day, but haven't lately, regrettably. Just haven't been inspired to. 7 viewers in the chat. Welcome, friends. Happy Sunday to you. Hope all of you have a great week. Sadie has moved towards the balcony, but she does not have to go outside. Do you like my hair? I had a haircut. I like it. It's very very futuristic, very cyberpunk 2077. The only disadvantage with having hair like this is it makes me look like I want to throw soup on the Mona Lisa or lie down in front of traffic and protest things, and nothing could be further from the truth. Papa one says farm dogs are all over 84 pounds. They are beasts. The smallest is 84 pounds. The biggest is the St. Bernard German Shepherd Collie mix named Buck, after the Call of the Wild book. I know that book, Jack London. Jack London used to be one of my first childhood favorite authors. Yeah. You got to read the classics. Mom one says, looks very handsome, Super Antonio. Watch out for all the ladies. Oh, such a sweetheart, Mama one. I just liked it because it was cool, and both the cooling and the cool sense. Papa one says he weighs 250 pounds. Wow, that thing is huge. That thing is a monster. That thing is a Sasquatch. And that's a happy note to leave the chat on. A 250-pound dog named Buck, who eats foxes, coyotes, and possibly deer. Thank you for being here. Shout out to the mods, Papa one and Mama one, and O-Dog and Chrissy and David. David, we love you and we wish you all the best. You get well, friend. Because I can't do this without you. Ramon, great talking to you, and Bet Sorrow, who's gone but not forgotten. Miko, of course. Shout out. Thank you, Miko, and shout out to the Philippines. Thank you for being here, friends. Have a great week. We shall return on Wednesdays. On Wednesdays,